Time News is sponsored by Hostfinder. Special medical care on demand.
Since the start of the pandemic, the planet's been engulfed in a complete environmental disaster. Hospitals are accumulating huge quantities of COVID-related medical waste on a daily basis. In the meantime, used masks, syringes and gloves are piling up in unauthorized dump sites, surfacing in rivers, lakes, and even in the world's oceans. They don't wear shoes when going through the rubbish, which can contain toxic waste from hospitals. Light sandals at best, certainly no shoes or protective clothing. But for Omar and many others in Bangladesh, it's the only way to make a living.
System. Basabari mala kutakari er modhe bas niye basabashi korte ekটু ভাঙা চুরে যায় নিয়ে ওটা দোকানে বিক্রি করা লাগে আগে ইসকে চালাইতাম তাই এখন দেখি যে ইসকে চালাও আমার চলতে পারি না পায়ে ছয় না আবার পায়ে টানে না দেখি একজন থেকে দুইজন উঠলে টানার শক্তি কুলে না
Before, when working in landfill sites, Omar was at great risk of catching an infection as he picked through mountains of waste. Today, however, things are much grimmer. COVID-contaminated waste lies right beneath his feet.
So, আপনি জানেন যে COVID-19 বা করোনা সারা পৃথিবী জুড়ে বাংলাদেশ জুড়ে অনেক জায়গায় হইতেছে সো এই করোনা আপনার কাজে বা আপনার ঝুঁকি রিস্ক কেমন বা কি বাড়তেছে আপনি করোনা
আমাদের তো এটা কাজ পেট বাঁচাইতে জীবন বাঁচাইতে গেলে আমাদের মরণে তো ভয় করা যাবে না এইটার ভেতরে ওখানে যে করোনা হলেও আমার কাজ করতে হবে আর দুই চারজন যদি এলাকায় মারা যায় তাও যাইতে হবে কারণ আমাদের এটা কর্ম করি খাইতে হবে কিন্তু এটার ভেতর তো আমাদের মরণের ভয় করলে তো আমরা তো আর পেট চালানো যাবে না
People who are in the process, handling it, transporting it, they are definitely vulnerable. Basically, they all die in early age because of contamination. They even don't know that they are contaminated and became another victim. And that's the reason, if you look at those people who are handling it, they are mostly young. You don't find old people are there because old people are all dead.
Amanya gange pitibwa Sekamate Brian era navuga motoka ezakasasiro zino nga bondaba natumujja mu town eyo ne tumuleetera ekiteezi gye tumuyiwa tukeera kusaawa emu n'ekitundu ne tugenda ne tukola tusooka lusomba ebisaaniko ebeera ku makubo bantu bye basuulako.
Among the household rubbish Brian collects, there's often medical waste, such as syringes, gloves and masks. It's all taken to a landfill on the outskirts of Uganda's capital. Here, hundreds of people sort through the waste every day.
Ekikolebwa wano kiriwo nti bayiwawo ekifo kyemuzeemu kibayiwamu kasasiro oba kibayita kitezi landfill era nga tulimu abantu bapiikingamu kibayita waste nenga bibasinga okujjamu obuveera obwa black n'omulago tuyita soft bono bwolabyewo ng'obeera ku box ne scrap asigaddewo so
ebintu ebyo tubijjamu lwa nsonga birina omugaso nti akaveera we kaddayo kavaamu product ey'akaveera endala oba ne muvaamu kye bayita tiles.
The problem is that there's now COVID waste among the containers and plastics.
So ebyo tebikirizibwa but muyinza ng'omanyi nti tebiggwaayo waliyo nga private clinic oli ayinza okukasiba mu kaveera ne kagiramu ng'akantu naye nga luli ebyajjanga nti mmotoka tetukyabifuna se.
When this COVID-19 came in the world, no area was ready to handle COVID-19. We got a problem in a way that the volumes of medical waste increased tremendously.
As a hospital, COVID waste is part of the medical waste that we handle. So COVID being highly infectious, all those are disposed in a colored, a red waste bin because they're highly infectious. So you aggregate the waste and it is stored for final disposal by incineration.
Facilities don't have incinerators. Medical waste should be incinerated. Actually, 90% of medical waste should be incinerated because it is considered highly infectious. But what happens? This medical waste finds itself in the mainstream waste.
Large volumes of hazardous medical waste come from clinics and hospitals, but instead of incinerating it, more and more often it's illegally dumped in rivers, fields, or simply thrown into dumpsters along the road.
We use incinerators and we burn the waste. So there are standard methods. This infrastructure is not available for certain facilities. The public facilities are trying as much as we can to put in place the infrastructure for managing waste. But the private facilities, the clinics, for example, around Kampala, they don't have those facilities because one, they are very expensive to put in place, but also two, they require space. So now what happens, these people place this waste, they mix it together with the domestic waste, mainly the food waste, and then it ends up in the mainstream waste. The people who are collecting don't have the knowledge. Actually, they're interested in money. They can't differentiate or say, this is medical waste, we can't take it. This is the domestic waste, we can't take it.
কাজ সকাল 8টা 7টা থেকে 8টা পর্যন্ত শুরু করি শায়দ বিকেল 5টা থেকে 6টা পর্যন্ত কাজ শেষ হয় দিনে 2 থেকে 3 বার টানা লাগে নিম্ন জায়গাটা তো 3 কিলো 4 কিলো জায়গা আপ ডাউন দিনে 5-6 বার করা লাগে সিঁড়ি বাড়ি উঠা লাগে নামানো গাড়ি টান দেওয়া লাগে গাড়ি একা টান দিতে বরঞ্চ খুব অনেক পরিশ্রম ছাড়া এটা কোনো কাম না পরিশ্রমের কাম
আমরা ভাঙার প্লাস্টিক জাতীয় আইটেম আর কি আমাদের বোতল তারপর প্লাস্টিকের ওই যে বোল বালতি ভাঙা বোল বালতি এইসব জিনিস আর কি আমরা কিনে আর কি ভাঙাতে
There are hundreds of plastic recycling businesses in Dhaka. They manually sort used bottles by color, cut off the labels and unscrew the caps. First they're washed with cold water and then with a cleaning solution. After that, they grind the bottles together with the caps into small pieces.
যদি করোনার কারণে কোনো রকমের প্লাস্টিকের কোনো একটা ওষুধের বোতল বা কোনো একটা কিছুর সাথে মনে করেন যে জীবাণুটা চলে আসলো তাহলে কোভিড বা করোনার কারণে এই বোতলটা আপনাদের এখানে আসলে আপনাদের তো জীবাণু বেড়ে যেতে পারে তাহলে ওইটার জন্য কি আপনাদের মধ্যে কোনো ভয় কাজ করে বা কোনো ভয় লাগে যে আপনাদেরও তো করোনা হইতে পারে বা কোনো কিছু
না না এটি আমরা মনে করি
কেন
এটি মনে করছে আমরা আগের থেকে তো মনে করছে এটি আমরা মনে করছে প্রসেস করে আইছি এর লেগে আমরা এটি ভয় পাই না।
Lack of fear and the ability to adapt. This seems to be the case for so many people in Bangladesh, one of the poorest countries in Asia. With more than 170 million people, it has one of the highest population densities per square kilometre in the world. Omar, a garbage collector, has a wife and 3 children to feed, so he must sort through the piles of rotting waste, even if it's contaminated with COVID.
না এই টাকা দিয়ে সংসার চলে না, খুব কষ্ট হয়ে যায়। একা সংসার চলা টাকা সরে খুব অনেক কঠিন। আমার বউ একটু বাসা বাড়ির কাজ করে, আগে গার্মেন্টস করতো, গার্মেন্টস বন্ধ হওয়ার পরে আর একটু বাসা বাড়ির কাজ করে। আর আমার ছেলে মেয়ে পড়াশোনা করে। কইরা মখন যে উনি ওনার কাজে যায়, আমি আমার কাজে যাই। আমরা দুইজনে কাজ কাম কইরা মখন উনি তো আসে একটু আগে, আমি আসি একটু পরে।
Unfortunately, most of our medical institutions, from diagnostics to clinics to hospitals, are not bounded, monitored, or enforced by law enforcing agencies to confine their medical waste properly, transport it accordingly, and treat it up to the end. Yes, there are some NGOs nowadays trying to encompass most of the hospitals, but there are many other places, from individuals to pharmacy to all other users, and to diagnostic center to clinic.
All individuals within Kampala and the rest of the country are using face masks, but then they are not disposed of medical manner, a manner that is accepted medically. They are being disposed of like they are municipal waste, and yet we are looking at them as a source of infection.
Since the start of the pandemic, the amount of medical waste worldwide has increased 40%. According to a World Health Organization report, 87,000 tons of personal protective equipment, which the UN donated to various medical institutions during the pandemic, weren't recycled and became medical waste.
Waste of masks, waste of gloves, you literally find masks everywhere. When you go to the water lake showers, masks are everywhere. Recently, I was on Lake Victoria. You may think that the fish are actually competing for space with the masks that are dumped everywhere. And I think at some point, the aquatic life is being so much affected. How? Because they may think these masks that are into the lake maybe is food, they eat them, and at the end of the day, they are dying.
According to doctors' recommendations, masks should be changed after 2 to 3 hours of use. If the rules are followed strictly, a person will need at least 4 disposable masks a day. That's almost 1,500 annually. And that's just for one person.
And at the end of the day, these will find themselves in the waterways, they find themselves in the drains, will find themselves everywhere.
It all gets mixed up and then sorted by individuals who can earn money by selling it, who are recycling it. The whole process is actually a contamination process. If you track it, then you'll be really, really astonished by seeing how we are spreading the whole thing into the society without even knowing that how much vulnerable those can be. COVID-19 actually made these things much more vulnerable.
Sundays, yesterday, today and tomorrow in Europe only on RT Dutch.